Well, good morning, everyone. So we are Dorset Mind, and there's two of us presenting this today. Myself and my good friend
Good
Calvin.
morning, everyone. I'm Calvin, and I am an ambassador for Dorset Mind.
I've been involved with Dorset Mind for on and off for about 10 years, but I'm also an academic at BU. I'm on the psychology course, and then for Dorset Mind, I'm the I am the patron. That essentially means I am an ambassador, but I also represent Dorset Mind in all sorts of ways, locally, nationally. So I'll kick off. I mean, Dorset Mind's been around in one way or another for over 70 years now. One of the things I absolutely love about Dorset Mind, it says there we're mental health experts. Well, we are. But a key thing is, I mean, the the clues in the title there, Dorset Mind. Mind is a national mental health charity and campaigning group and educator and all sorts of things. And we are affiliated, but we are independent as well.
I guess you're wondering what do we actually do? So I mean, our kind of basic ethos is that we want to help people with mental health to live life as normally as possible. And I mean, obviously that's even more of a challenge at the moment, and a lot of our stuff has had to move online.
But you know what? Many people might not fit these diagnoses for mental health problems in any case, and might just be struggling, might just be, as it mentions there, about anxiety, depression, stress. You know, and I think it's important as saying about, mental health doesn't discriminate. And we're all here together, and Dorset Mind is here to support people in whatever way you're feeling.
How we're helping, it comes down to our kind of mission statement here, really. Firstly, to educate people. Secondly, it's to challenge stigma. And then finally, we promote the ethos of recovery.
In those dark moments when you think that no one else feels like I do, nobody feels as low as I do, nobody feels as anxious as I do, nobody's having all these intrusive thoughts or that sort of thing. Yes, they do. But, and that's why we need to talk about it. And that is the first step. The challenge is at the moment, the way in which we present those adult services. Well, up until just over 6 months ago, we were providing all these services in various groups, meeting at various times of the week. We certainly got a number of well-being groups right across Dorset, and where they are online, they are Zoom. Or we can provide telephone support. We've also got a couple of LGBTQ groups, one in Bournemouth, one in Weymouth. One of the things we know, we talk about stigma, but the stigma towards the gay and LGBTQ community, sort of particularly at the age where trying to deal with sexuality, for the want of a better phrase, if you like, can put an extra burden. We know that the mental health problems are greater in the LGBT community. So we provide those two groups. We also have one, I think it's just the one women's only group. We also provide some support for those people who may be experiencing some kind of eating disorder. So we've got two activity based services where although that's quite a challenge on Zoom, we may a typical Zoom might look at doing a bit of Zumba or a little bit of exercise and then talking about mental health and that sort of thing. And related to that, we've got an ecotherapy project in Dorchester where we're using horticulture and growing things. But Befriending is a service where we provide more one-to-one support to people, whereby someone who needs a befriending service will have a one-to-one buddy.
The youth services are a big thing for me. So what do they actually entail? What do we do with the youth services? Well, firstly, obviously, we go into schools, and some of this support can include assemblies, PSHE lessons, one-to-one counselling, drop-in groups to help capture those who don't or won't go to school, training for teachers, making sure teachers can understand mental health, and understand what their students are going through, and parent workshops, again, making sure parents understand what their children are going through. To this date, we've already directly impacted over 20,000 young people in 25 schools. And I think, Dorset Mind Your Head hasn't been running massively long, and I think that's a huge achievement to be really celebrated.
Now, in terms of training, imagine the workplace scenario. Traditionally, the workplace has probably been one of the few, one of the places you simply can't talk about mental health. Could that potentially mean that you could lose your job or be set back in some way in your employment? We wouldn't even be having this conversation if you broke your leg. You wouldn't be able to go to work. And as you start to recover from that, you'd find a way in which you'd gradually get back to work. You might be able to do a few days, perhaps on crutches. They might need to make some adjustments to your workstation. But with mental health, is it the same? Not really. You're not depressed anymore. Come back to work. Now, one of the best places to start that is to make the workplace a mentally healthy place to work. And some of you will think about going on placement, perhaps over the course of your degree. Hopefully, they will have mental health in place too. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we're doing within the workplace. But you can also help us.
There is a massive range of things that any of you can do to help us. Firstly, you can tell your story by starting a conversation. You can fundraise for us. Going into January, I think we're having the Jump into January challenge, where we're going to be encouraging people to do a certain amount of exercise each day in January. And then we're encouraging people to raise funds through doing that challenge. You can volunteer for us. As it says there, we simply can't do what we do without our amazing army of volunteers. Best things of my last 5 years volunteering for Dorset Mind, and all sorts of weird and wonderful things. And then also we have our websites, dorsetmind.uk and dorsetmindyourhead.co.uk. I think to kind of summarize, throughout my 5 years at Dorset Mind, I've used my strengths and things that I'm involved in to help Dorset Mind.
I wonder if under the websites we also should include my Dorset Mind as well, because there's some lovely resources on there. If you're on a degree where there is a placement, particularly something like a media degree or the psychology degrees, then you might consider any placements that might be available at Dorset Mind at that time, because we have done those as well. Thank you, Calvin. Thank you, Subu and BU for letting us do this.
I was just going to ask, actually, I know you guys were talking a lot about all the different volunteering opportunities you have. Have you moved any of these to the standard ones to be virtual?
The traditional services that we've actually got that have been going for some time are mostly online. Befriending is beginning to go face to face. It's a good point about, if any of our students, for instance, then did have to self-isolate while here, I'd like to think that we could provide some kind of support for that.
The Young Ambassadors, which is a thing that I know many uni students are a part of. It's a service where they work on different projects at different times, and they meet fortnightly, I think. That's moved virtual, so they're online at the moment.
But no, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you guys coming and talking to us today. As you say, Andy, like, you are open, you're there, you're ready to help.
Everyone.
Brilliant. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.